Right. Let's dive into the current state of affairs. Let's talk about the United Kingdom, a nation once celebrated for its global influence and economic prowess. Once hailed as Global Britain, the UK now finds itself stuck in a loop of economic stagnation, unable to break free from the chains of its own making. The headlines are grim. UK economy stalls again, inflation bites, and the cost of living crisis deepens. Each day brings a new wave of troubling news. Every trip to the supermarket feels like a financial crisis. Cheese or your child's future? The choices are becoming increasingly difficult for many families. The national mood is exhaustion, not anger. People are worn out from the constant struggle to make ends meet. The revolving door of economic woes began with Brexit's chaotic goodbye to the EU, a decision that continues to haunt the nation. Businesses now face mountains of paperwork, and families watch their savings vanish. The burden is heavy and unrelenting. The dream of taking back control has become a struggle to control the basics, like heating your home. Winter brings a chill that is both physical and financial. The grand adventure of Brexit has lost its shine, replaced by weary resignation. The promises of a brighter future seem distant and unattainable. Promises of booming trade deals echo like a bad joke. The reality is starkly different from the optimistic visions once painted. People were sold a vision of a roaring lion. What they got was a hamster on a wheel, endlessly running but going nowhere. The sense of disappointment is everywhere. Pubs, post offices, living rooms. Conversations are filled with a sense of loss and longing for better days. Many now wonder if the cage they left behind was actually a pretty decent place to live. The nostalgia for the past is palpable. The UK's economic Groundhog Day shows no sign of ending. Each day feels like a repeat of the last, with no clear path forward. Let's get specific about Brexit's bureaucracy. Imagine running a small jam business in Kent. Before Brexit, selling to Paris was as easy as selling to Manchester. Now, customs forms, certificates, and endless checks just to ship a single jar. Small businesses are drowning in paperwork, spending more time on forms than on their craft. Fishermen watch their catch rot as paperwork outlasts freshness. The friction isn't just for businesses. Travel, touring, and even pet passports are tangled in red tape. Costs rise, delays mount, and consumers pay the price. The promise to cut Brussels' red tape has been replaced by a homegrown cocoon of bureaucracy. Britain is suffocating its own economy, one form at a time. November 2025. The Brexit party is long over, and the nation is left with a 9-year hangover. High streets are emptier, factories have closed, and small businesses are casualties of rising costs and falling demand. Families gather around smart meters, dreading the next bill. Young entrepreneurs shelve their dreams, scared off by uncertainty. The national mood is uncertainty and regret, a sense that the country took a wrong turn. The euphoria is gone. The consequences are real and daily. The question now, what have we done? To truly understand today's widespread disappointment, we need to rewind to the pivotal year of 2016, when the United Kingdom stood at a crossroads, and the air was thick with anticipation and uncertainty. The Brexit campaign was a masterclass in emotional marketing. Its rallying cry, "Take back control," echoed through cities and towns, tapping into deep-seated frustrations and hopes for change. The most famous promise, $350 million a week for the NHS, was boldly plastered on the side of a big red bus, becoming an unforgettable symbol of the campaign's bold assurances. It was a powerful slogan, repeated endlessly, but ultimately, it was a work of fiction that played on people's hopes and anxieties. People were promised not just control, but also an end to mass immigration, a return of sovereignty, and a future filled with amazing new trade deals that would supposedly benefit everyone. The EU was painted as the villain, blamed for stagnating wages, stretched public services, and a loss of national identity, fueling a sense of resentment and urgency. Leaving the EU was sold as the silver bullet that would fix everything, an easy solution to complex problems, promising a brighter, more prosperous future for all. On June 23, 2016, a majority of voters chose to leave, placing their faith in these promises and believing that change was finally within reach. But catchy political slogans are not the same as sound economic policies, and the realities of governing soon became clear. The grand promises made on the bus began to unravel almost immediately, breaking down as soon as reality hit and the complexities of Brexit negotiations emerged. The vision of a revitalized Britain, once so vivid and inspiring, faded fast as economic challenges mounted and optimism gave way to frustration. Today, the gap between the promises made and the reality experienced by millions has only grown wider, leaving many to wonder what was truly gained and what was lost. The UK left and reality docked. The much-touted trade deal with the EU avoided tariffs but introduced a mountain of non-tariff barriers. Industries like car manufacturing and aerospace suffered as supply chains broke down. Investment dried up, and the City of London lost jobs and assets to Europe. The pound fell, making imports more expensive and fueling inflation. The cost of living crisis deepened, and Britain's global influence shrank. The dream of global Britain became a struggle to be heard. The unraveling touched every aspect of British life. Brexit's central promise was sovereignty, control over laws, borders, and money. Technically, the UK achieved that. But what did it deliver? Most new trade deals were just rollovers. The big prize, a US deal, never materialized. Diverging from EU rules created more problems than it solved. The bonfire of red tape fizzled. Most EU laws were kept because they made sense. Symbolic wins like blue passports and crown-stamped pint glasses feel hollow. The real cost: lost jobs, higher prices, and fewer opportunities. The trade-off looks like a bad deal. Sovereignty in name, but little to show for it. The UK gave up a 3-course meal for a packet of crisps. The benefits of sovereignty are proving almost entirely imaginary. Brexit was sold as liberation, a nimble, prosperous UK. The dream: more NHS funding, thriving fishermen, and a wave of innovation. The reality: a stagnant economy, a strained NHS, and higher net migration. Fishermen, promised exclusive waters, now struggle to sell their catch due to new trade barriers. The Brexit paradox: theoretical control, practical losses. The gap between dream and reality fuels national disillusionment. People voted for a better future. They got the opposite. The promised benefits vanished, while Project Fear warnings came true. The moral: be careful what you wish for. The dream may not match the reality. The tale of two Brexits is a cautionary one. For years, the country was split: remain versus leave. Economic hardship has done what debate could not: changed minds. Public opinion now shows a clear majority believe Brexit was a mistake. The biggest shift? Former Leave voters admitting it hasn't worked. The emotional toll has been immense, but now there's a slow reconciliation. The "I told you so" moments are replaced by shared disappointment. The national mood is pragmatic, not defiant. Politicians are cautiously discussing a closer relationship with Europe. The question is no longer how to make the best of Brexit, but whether to undo it. The conversation about Britain's future is wide open again. The unmentionable is now being mentioned: rejoining the EU. This topic, once considered taboo, is now entering mainstream discussions, sparking debates across the nation. It's not a majority view yet, and the path back would be tough. The nation remains divided, with passionate voices on both sides of the argument. The UK would face new terms, likely the Euro and Schengen. These changes would require significant adjustments, both economically and socially. But the fact that this is being discussed shows how much has changed. Political landscapes are shifting, and new alliances are forming. For many, especially the young, Rejoining means hope, restored opportunities, economic stability, and a stronger voice. They see a future where they can thrive in a connected Europe. Brexit is seen as a historic mistake that mortgaged the future. The economic and social impacts have been deeply felt across the country. The debate is now about identity and what kind of country Britain wants to be. It's a question of values, direction, and the legacy left for future generations. The emotional arguments for leaving are giving way to pragmatic ones for rejoining. People are weighing the tangible benefits of EU membership against past grievances. The journey back would be long, but the conversation has begun. Grassroots movements are gaining momentum, and public opinion is slowly shifting. The pain of the last 9 years has forced a national rethink. Economic hardships have prompted many to reconsider the benefits of EU ties. The UK's relationship with Europe is wide open once more. The potential for renewed partnerships and collaborations is on the table. For the first time in years, there's a glimmer of real hope on the horizon. A new chapter may be unfolding, filled with possibilities and renewed optimism.